All right, guys, gals, friends, family, Steve Patton with General Patton Bushcraft, back with you with another super exciting recap, friends. This is Alone Season 10, Episode 9, titled Splintered. Stay tuned. Okay, friends, every Alone show starts out with a quote from a famous person. And episode 9, titled Splinters, quote is, quote, "Man is not what he thinks he is what he hides," unquote. And that's by André Malraux, a French novelist. All right, friends, let's get right into it. It's day 41, 8:12 a.m. 4 people remain. We got Alan, Wyatt, Melanie, and Mikey. Only one female, friends. And the show goes right over to Alan. It's 30 degrees, friends. And he comes out of his shelter out into the winter wonderland. Everything is covered in snow. Alan is 51 years old from British Columbia, Canada. He leaves the shelter, heads down to the water, and he's looking in the camera, friends, and he tells us that he hates his mustache. Says he wants to shave it off. All right, back to the teepee. He says it's an inside day. Tells us he's only got 6 arrows left. So he turns 2 of the 6 into thumpers. And those are used to kill small game. He carves some blunt tips to put on the end of those 2 arrows because he's out of broadheads, friends. All right, friends, it's still day 41, 10:47, and the show goes over to Melanie. She's 55 years old from New York, USA, and she realizes that the mice have eaten a hole in her sleeping bag, friends. During the night, she felt this cold draft on her back. She couldn't figure out what it was because she can't see her breath inside the shelter. It's plenty warm, but she had this cold draft. She figures out that the mice chewed a hole in it. So she makes a nice needle and thread, friends, out of the underwire, out of one of her bras, and she makes some thread out of her scarf. And she sews it up, shuts it up nicely, friends. But I wish she would have put some more insulation in that sleeping bag. Okay, friends, it's still day 41. It's about 12:21 p.m. and the show goes over to Mikey. He's 32 years old from Georgia, USA, friends, and he's just hunkered down in his shelter all day. It's an inside day for him, and he's carving toys for his son's birthday. His son's birthday is in about 10 days, friends. He shows us, he doesn't want to show us, but he accidentally shows us what he carved. It was real nice. It's one of those cup and ball toys. So good on Mikey. All right, friends, it's still day 41. About 2:14 p.m. and the show goes over to Wyatt. Wyatt's 51 years old from Ontario, Canada. Friends, it's 30 degrees outside, so he decides he needs to cut some wood. He makes a nice X-frame log holder outside of his shelter, friends, and he's cutting up big, long logs for firewood. Good on Wyatt. And then about 7 o'clock that night, friends, we see him inside of his shelter. He decides to take a look at that arm and clean that arm up. And ooh-wee, he pulls a big old splinter out of his arm, friends, about 3/4 of an inch long. And that piece of wood's been in his arm for 14 days. All right, friends, day 42 still. It's about 10:41 a.m. and the show goes over to Alan. Alan heads down to the lake to check on his gill net, and nothing. Oh man, he's getting frustrated because his gill net's not working. He tries his hand at fishing with hand line fishing. He gets 3 or 4 really good bites, but nothing. And he's getting frustrated, friend. Decides to go on a walk with his bow and arrow to go grouse hunting. And he's missing his family, friends. No grouse for Alan. He heads back to the shelter he calls Old Teepee. And he's feeling very tired and very lightheaded. All right, friends, day 42, about 2:30 p.m. And the show goes back over to Wyatt, and he's got a whole bunch of mushrooms, friends, on some snare wire, and he just makes the decision he's gonna start eating those things. So he tries it out like his mom taught him. He takes a small piece of mushroom, puts it in his gum, like some chewing tobacco, and he leaves it in there for an hour or so. He figures if he doesn't get sick, then it's good to eat. Also, the squirrels and the mice have been eating on it, so he's gonna go ahead and roll the dice and have some mushrooms tonight. He goes out hunting for some grouse. It's snow all over the ground, friends. So he sees some grouse tracks it down, and the grouse is up in the tree. He gets a shot off and nails it, friends. And oh my goodness, on the way back, he sees another grouse. He gets a second grouse for the morning. That's about 1,000 calories, friends. Good on Wyatt. So he's gonna have grouse and mushrooms for that night. Wyatt is feeling good. He's looking good. He's very strong, and he's not going anywhere, friends. Grouse and mushrooms, and he's got a full belly. All right, friends, day 42, 3:51 p.m., and the show goes over to Melanie. She's in her shelter, and she's hoping to get that mouse that ate a hole in her sleeping bag. She nails that mouse, friends, in a deadfall trap. So good on Melanie. She skins, cooks, and eats that little guy. Walks down to the beach, and she films a beautiful sunset. And she's talking about freedom, love, family, and her mom dying of cancer, friends. I don't know about Melanie. All right, friends, it's day 43, and the show goes over to Mikey. And it's about 8 o'clock in the morning. He just got back from hunting, and he had found nothing. Nothing for Mikey on the morning hunt. So he's back in his shelter, and he decides to forge a knife out of a nail that he found. Just like on the previous Alone show, friends, when Biko made that knife, Mikey's gonna go ahead and forge a knife. And matter of fact, he says he's gonna call the knife Biko. So he builds a nice fire, heats that thing up, pounds it into a shape of a knife, and it turns out real nice. And then what's even better is he makes a real nice sheath for that knife to go in. It's a sheath that hangs around your neck, friends, and that thing is a real work of beauty. So good on Mike. All right, friends, it's still day 43. It's about 2:04 p.m. and the show goes back over to Melanie. Melanie's been hoarding mushrooms, berries, and plants. She decides to leave the shelter, go down and try her hand at handline fishing. Nothing. And friends, we can tell that she's getting very frustrated, and Melanie starts melting down, friends. We knew it. I thought she was gonna do it last show, but Taz beat her to it. She lasts 43 days, friends, and Melanie taps out. All right, friends, day 43 still. 3 people remain. We got Alan, Mikey, and Wyatt. And today it's Alan's birthday. The show goes back over to Alan, and he decides to make himself a big old birthday meal. He's gonna eat 3 big fish fillets that he's been hoarding up fish, friends. Also, he makes the decision to up what he's been eating because he's been feeling real lightheaded. He decides to eat 1 1/2 fish fillets per day right now, but this is his birthday, friends. He's missing his family, and but he pulls it together, holds it on together, goes ahead and makes a big old nice 3 fish fillet dinner for himself. And then he goes down and he decides to check the gill net. And whoa, boy, good on Alan. He catches a Cisco. This is a species of a freshwater whitefish, friends. And he gets his first fish in the gill net on his birthday. And it's his biggest fish so far. Good on Alan. He cleans it, and it's got a lot of meat, friends. All right, the show goes to about 8:30 that night now, and it's still on Alan. And Alan tells us, hey, he's gonna have some fireworks for his birthday, friends. He says, hey, I got a lot of fish stored up. There's bears in the area, I should be able to shoot off one of these bear bangers, friends, and that's exactly what he does. The show ends right there, friends, with him shooting off into the night sky, a nice fireworks show with that bear banger. And that's where the show ends, friends. And that's where my recap is going to end. We got 3 people, 3 participants remaining. They all look real strong to me. Mentally, physically, emotionally, and energy-wise, they all look very strong. Leave me a comment. Let me know who you think's going to win this thing. We got Alan, Mikey, and Wyatt still remain, friends. All right, before you leave the show, please consider subscribing. Please help this channel grow. Give the video a like. Hit that subscribe button, and in that drop-down menu, do select all. That way you get notified of when I release the next recap, friends. This is show season 10 is super exciting. All right, as always, God is good, God is great. I see y'all on the next video. Already got a date.